At the time of recording, Bitcoin is sitting at about $97,000 and it has broken above its previous level of resistance here and level of recent support at about $95,000, meaning that this rally might continue to this price target for this descending wedge to about $100,000 or so. Hopefully, that's just going to be the beginning, and maybe we're going to be at all-time highs here pretty soon. But what are the catalysts that have been seeing us pump to the upside today? Well, honestly, there's not as much bullish news as I've seen in previous bull markets, so it's kind of hard to figure out why we're pumping. But I think that the main reason might be because we got initial jobless claims coming in a lot higher than expected, with the actual being 241,000, with the expectation being 224,000. And that means they're on the rise because the previous was 223,000. This means that the Fed might actually be forced into lowering their interest rates, and it looks like the probability that we're going to be seeing a rate cut in not this coming up meeting, but the very next one, has risen to about 60%. It's been fluctuating quite a bit, with it being at about 57% right now, and a day ago it was at 63%, and then a week ago it was at 57% again. So it's kind of going up and down a little bit, just like a regular chart. But if the Fed does lower interest rates, then that means that more liquidity is going to be pumped into the system. And Bitcoin is basically a function of the liquidity that's in the world monetary system. So if there's more liquidity, then there's going to be more gains. This coming up meeting is in less than a week at about 6 days. And it looks like we've got about a 95% chance that he's going to be continuing with the pause. But everybody's going to be paying attention to his speech after the meeting to see what he's going to be expecting to do in the coming meetings, and maybe these probabilities here for the June meeting are going to be on the rise some more. Some more slightly bullish news, which I don't really think this has anything to do with the pump, but it might for some people, is that Eric and Donald Trump Jr. are set to speak at the Bitcoin conference in 2025, which is coming up later this month. And this article from Bitcoin Magazine says the speaker lineup for Bitcoin 2025 continues to grow as two high-profile names join the stage. Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. are set to appear in Las Vegas from May 27th to 29th. So maybe this is causing a little bit of pump, as people are expecting maybe for these guys to say what their father is expecting to do with cryptocurrency and how he's actually going to make America the crypto capital of the world. But I think he's already made some pretty good headway with him, according to this article on CNBC, rewriting the crypto rules in the first 100 days as the industry celebrates a 180-degree pivot from the Biden years. This article says Trump ran for office on a promise to make America the crypto capital of the world, and those who got behind that message say he's already delivered, or at least he's gotten off to a hot start. A blitz of executive actions, strategic appointments, and early wins, from the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve to the rollback of enforcement-heavy SEC tactics, has left the industry feeling more welcome in Washington, D.C. than ever. Like I've said, there's been a lot of really pro-crypto appointments, and we're going to be seeing probably some pro-crypto legislation coming through, but it's going to take some time for these guys to actually get the work done. And maybe there's some front running of the progress that's going to be made. But as you know, the big players are really the ones that are manipulating the markets, and maybe they know something that we don't know, and maybe there's going to actually be some legislation or some kind of pro-crypto action that's going to be being put forth here in the coming days. So hopefully we're going to be seeing some more developments coming out of this pretty shortly. But for now, it's all really just mostly rumors. We have seen Operation Choke Point 2.0 be put to a stop, and it looks like maybe we're going to be seeing banks taking over cryptocurrency, which a few years ago people would have been all up in arms in the Bitcoin community about it, because Bitcoin is supposed to basically make you your own bank and free us from the stranglehold that the banking system and the traditional finance system has had over our finances for the past 80 years or whatever. But with banks and big institutions becoming pro-cryptocurrency, it just means that a whole bunch of money is going to be available to pour into the markets, and that usually means that prices are going to be going up, and if you bought in before the banks and institutions did, then you're probably going to make a whole bunch of money. As this article goes on to say, at the office of the comptroller of the currency, Jonathan Gould has signaled support for the issuing of bank charters to crypto firms. During the presidency of Joe Biden, this was almost unthinkable. We'll see a lot of new crypto firms getting bank charters, Carter said, and new banks getting set up that are expressly focused on crypto and stablecoins. The Federal Reserve remains a structural holdout, though, while banks can now custody crypto thanks to the repeal of the accounting rule called SAB 121. They still can't work directly with crypto firms unless the Fed says they can, though. The FDIC and the OCC have rescinded their anti-crypto guidance, but the Federal Reserve has only partially followed suit, and a notice from January 2023 continues to restrict banks from certain crypto-related activities. So it looks like the Fed is still messing with our money as usual, and they're probably going to continue trying to fight against Donald Trump's plan to make America the crypto capital of the world. But as the war between Donald Trump and Jerome Powell continues to heat up, I think that this is going to become more and more of a talking point. And if the Fed does remove these restrictions, then we could be seeing banks actually being able to do all kinds of things with cryptocurrency, like loan against crypto and Bitcoin and stuff like that, which will really be a huge boon for the industry. And it'll make it possible for you to do stuff like take a loan against your Bitcoin and actually be able to buy a house without selling your Bitcoin. So in my opinion, this is one of the most bullish things, even though we don't want the banks to take over the cryptocurrency industry. At least that is if you believe in the fundamentals of what Bitcoin was supposed to be a few years ago. But it looks like the narrative is kind of changing. And honestly, this is really the kind of thing that we need to happen for Bitcoin to actually be used as a currency, and for cryptocurrency in general to be able to integrate itself into the hundreds of trillions of dollars that is the global financial market. So it looks to me like a lot of really big things could be coming up for crypto in the next year or two, but it's going to take some time for all of these things to come to fruition. And if right now the speculation alone is enough to be pushing us to the upside, just imagine what happens whenever Bitcoin actually does get integrated into the global financial system, and how high it's going to fly if the Fed does actually start to lower interest rates again. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, though. Did I miss some kind of big news, or are we just pumping because of speculation over banks pushing into the cryptocurrency space and maybe the Fed starting to lower interest rates in their next meeting? Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. But most importantly, don't forget to do only good every day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.